Into the Cypher. Prepare for another all-nighter.
On the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is Sports Cypher on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Maya, Faruq, we got Demonze. Everybody's in the building. A lot of people lurking tonight. We appreciate all of that. We appreciate all you listening out there. If you want to join into the conversation, the phone number here is 773-591-1690. Hit us up, 773-591-1690. You can also hit us on Twitter as well. That's twitter.com/The Sports Cypher. Facebook also as well, The Sports Cypher. Instagram, YouTube, WVON.com. That's a lot of stuff to say. But as far as that cut we just played from Fox Sports yesterday, Albert Pujols has been put under the gun by a former ball player, a pretty successful ball player, and Jack Clark. You know, as a kid, I remember him hitting that home run against the Dodgers, Game 6 of the NLCS way back in '85. I remember that very clearly. Don't ask me how old I am. But this is, I think this could be kind of big.
Part of the issue with it is the fact that this conversation that he's alleging, that Jack Clark's alleging that he had happened roughly about 12 years ago. And it was with a trainer of Pujols at the time, who obviously is not a current trainer, who said that he himself had injected him with steroids. Now, mind you, this is a conversation that happened 12 years ago that's now news. So obviously Albert Pujols is livid about the statement, because especially with every Major League Baseball player that potentially looks like he could be using some form of a performing-enhancing drug is under the microscope at this point in time. And it isn't like his name hasn't been thrown out there a couple times. Is it possible? And especially coming off a contract, going to the Angels, leaving St. Louis and getting a $240 million contract that he yet has not really delivered on.
Right, and he's kind of struggled the last year or so, since he's been out there, really, and that's what Clark was kind of equating to in his statement, say, it's part of the whole breakdown from not using anymore. And he also, we're not just going to, mention Pujols, he also threw another huge name, Justin Verlander, into this whole mix, saying that his lack of production this year, or his lack of being the normal Justin Verlander that we're used to, is kind of built, around him possibly being off of the stuff.
Or eventually, maybe people make the proper adjustments to be able to hit a pitcher. I mean, it comes with the territory. So, and of course, Verlander, he didn't even put that much into it. He was like, he's off his rocker, whatever, and moved on. He didn't even entertain the conversation. So I guess my question would be, Faruq, to you is, do you think that Pujols is overreacting to the statement if there's no form of guilt whatsoever? Because remember, you have a right to, he's saying this is coming from a conversation he had with somebody. He just didn't randomly say, I think you're using.
I don't think he's overreacting, because a lot of the time when all this stuff first started really coming out a few years ago about all these players, one of the common questions that people would ask is, well, if you don't like what they're saying, why don't you sue them? You're a public figure. You can sue for slander. You can do all these things, but no one did that. Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, none of those guys.
Because they were guilty.
Exactly. But the first thing Pujols says is, I'm going to sue him.
And it's like he needs the money.
Right.
Clearly,
exactly.
It's about principle. It's not about dollars.
Exactly. So unless he has either an ironclad alibi or he's truly not guilty, then if he follows through with the whole lawsuit thing, then, hey, what can you say?
It's going to be a toughie, because realistically, the conversation happened 12 years ago. The trainer is now backtracking and saying, I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
So now it's kind of like, well, why would he just put you on Front Street like that and say you said it if you didn't say it? You know what I mean? Because that's a big accusation to make of somebody.
He can also go to the whole lawyer thing and say, I can sue you because there's no failed drug test. Goes back to my whole point with Alex Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Now, he actually did come out and say, okay, yeah, I used. But you don't have a smoking gun. Unless that smoking gun is next to, the gun that shot Abraham Lincoln, there is nothing there.
But his statement is more of, someone told me a number of years ago he used. He didn't say he was currently using. Mm-hmm. So he didn't say in present tense. He just says that he had used it at some point of time. So it's technically, in the business we're in, if somebody came to me and told me through a source that I know that a high-profile Chicago athlete, I'll just throw one out there, Derrick Rose, was using PEDs. And this is why all of a sudden now he's having more freak injuries like groin, hamstring, back, ACLs. It's coming from a source that says they know people who've given him the product. I'm only in the industry reporting the news.
And it's only hypothetical, right?
It's What? I'm just whatever.
I'm saying.
Yeah, it's hypothetical. I'm giving an example.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
So I'm just saying, but
I love me some Maya Kai.
Right.
For real.
Real slide up under the table.
Just saying, things frequently come from sources that
Yeah, it does.
that
It does.
are often in an inner circle with somebody, and this came pretty much from the horse's mouth. I mean, it was his trainer who said he injected him. So the question is, I think the conversation might have really happened. I can't imagine what credibility would Jack Clark have in making up a story of this magnitude. How does it benefit him in any way, shape, or form?
Why come out of left field with this?
Well, they just started their show, he and this other guy. They were new to the whole ESPN radio thing out there. And they got yanked like immediately. I don't even think they were on, 15 days was something like I saw like that. So it might have been a shock value thing. I don't know. I'm not... Man, it's sounding like I'm defending Pujols and giving him the benefit of the doubt because you really can't afford to.
But he deserves it. Technically he deserves it.
Does it really? Do any of them?
Because there's, like you
honestly?
said, there is no smoking gun. At this point, you're right though. So many people have come out to be liars, like blatant liars about it. I think that's why I kind of respect Nelson Cruz, who just kind of accepted the punishment.
No, Nelson Cruz did not accept it. He said it was because of some stomach thing that he had.
Right.
There's the other guy on
Here's
the
the thing, though.
Padres.
But he admitted he used it. He admitted, I did it.
But the other
And then
guy on the Padres, Everett Cabrera, was like, yeah, you caught me. He didn't come up with this whole elaborate, well, my stomach was hurting, so I had to take some medicine.
I ate this wrong stuff, and I had to shoot
Yeah.
this.
Like,
I mean, it was ridiculous.
That was way
and he went around the way to say, yes, I did it, but I had good reason for why I did it. But I think that's kind of funny, though. Like, really? Really?
It was way over the top, his excuse. Like I said, I like Everett Cabrera on the Padres. He's like, I did it. You caught me. And that was the end of it.
Right. I mean, and that's the point. If you're going to use it, take the punishment. That's the whole issue with Alex Rodriguez that makes this just so insane to me. He's behaving as if he's not possibly guilty of this. And then now there's more stuff coming out that says in May of 2012, which is just over a year ago, that Bill Romanowski approached Victor Conte, who was the Balco founder. If you remember Balco tied to the whole Barry Bonds thing, because they were looking for some legal supplements. Now ask yourself this question. Why would you go to a man who is just embroiled in controversy about PEDs to get a legal supplement? You can get legal supplements from GNC. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying.
No, you can. You're right.
So now all this stuff is coming out, and here's the thing. When Bill Romanowski allegedly approached Victor Conte about this meeting, he declined. He didn't want to meet with either one of them. Bill Romanowski, if you remember, used to play for the Broncos, or Alex Rodriguez. He wanted no parts of the meeting. They went to his office uninvited to have the conversation.
I need that good stuff.
Just for legal supplements? You're coming to my office?
He said he gave him some protein for Betty by time. Yeah. That's what he said, a protein supplement before he went to bed.
But I'm just like, you go all the way there when he's already told you, I don't want to have a conversation with you. I mean, there are more and more things coming out in regards to the A-Rod situation that's making him look more guilty.
A-Rod need... Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say, I think I have a different spin on the whole A-Rod thing. I think everybody knows, he knows that everybody knows what he used. I think his whole thing is he don't want to get, blackball in the sense of why I got to get to 211. Why I got to get to 211 games? Why can't I just get to 50 like Nelson Cruz? I never been popped. Those
guys negotiated that stuff, though. They took that in order not to get more.
Right. He would have.
Yeah, but if you're going by the rules and the deal that they struck, if you failed the first time, you're supposed to get 50 games. I don't think he has no problem probably going away for the season. I just don't think he wants to lose a whole entire
But the problem is
season.
he's a repeated offender. Remember,
he's never been caught.
He's a repeated offender. When he was with Texas, what was it, 08, 09?
Yeah, he admitted to that.
He just admitted. He never been caught.
Okay, well, he admitted it. So I'm like, when you admit it, that's better than getting caught.
And I think that's the way they're treating him as a repeat offender. They're pretty much saying he tested positive without having the actual positive test in hand, and that's why they're hitting him as hard as they're hitting him. And then with him fighting back and kind of taking to the media and saying the stuff he was saying in New Jersey last week, they don't like that. Bud Selig doesn't like that. So now...
but whoever.
But you know what, though? I got something to say. A lot of the baseball has been taking a lot of flack for saying, why are you guys saying something now? You guys were,
in bed with it for a long time.
But, eventually you're going to have to try to do something. And should they not do anything? Yeah, so they just kind of let it go?
When their pockets got fat enough, they was like, you know what? Yeah, we're all right.
Here's the reality of it. The whole, big home run derby phenomena that happened between Sosa and McGuire was good for baseball. It brought people back to baseball. It made them interested. At that point of time, you better believe that baseball was very aware that they were using steroids. My God, they looked like two juggernauts. I mean, it was honest, and their necks were popping out. I mean, they knew they were using. But at that time, it was an advantage to them. Now, the other issue I have with the whole steroid situation or PEDs is that right now Major League Baseball is fully invested in importing players from a lot of Latino countries. Well, the issue with that is PEDs are legal and are frequently used and promoted to those athletes. If you look at the long list of people that were found guilty, unfortunately, they are of Latino descent. So the question is...
Yeah, you don't like that, do you?
You know, I don't. But it is what it is. I'm just saying.
12 out of 13?
So it's pretty much. The question is, this is a twofold issue they have to deal with. You're trying to clean up Major League Baseball, but if you want to keep exporting from these countries that it's perfectly legal and they support and encourage it, how do you stop that from happening? I mean, it's a lot that Bud Selig, his legacy is now marred with this. It's never going to go away. And I think before his exit, which is no time soon that we know of, I think he's trying to do right by this. And I think they do have to do something.
Let me ask you this. Are the masking agents or whatever they use to disguise these things less sophisticated for these when it comes to these products that the Dominican guys are using? Because a lot of people have been saying, on the internet and stuff, like, where are the white players it comes to this?
But it's true. I mean, outside of, Ryan Braun.
He's not white, though.
He white.
He isn't?
Well, they don't really, Well, I'm going to stop right there.
No, you can explain this.
Stop yourself right
how
there.
can
I'm
Ryan Braun
right
not
there.
be white? No, I need you to explain this to me.
No, I'll explain during the break.
Okay.
But there.
I'm like, something special. I don't know.
But a lot of people have been asking that. There have been a lot of rumblings, like, why aren't any white players being?
I can answer that question.
Let's hear it.
Coming from a poor country, you don't have that much money. You might get $10,000 to $15,000 a year. Coincide here in America, where the standard of living is a lot higher. People have more means and more income. You're probably going to get the better stuff.
Well, it's part of their culture. It's legal and it's acceptable.
But I've heard that they've been told, at least from the scouts here, because the baseball teams, they have like schools down there.
Yes.
They've been telling them, don't take the stuff. But if you have nothing and you can get something into your system that's going to get me out of here, I mean, I roll the dice. I'm going to roll the dice.
They have a lot. They're going to, like I said, it's a twofold issue. You've got players that are here you've got to contend with, and then you got to look at the players that you are importing and large numbers, even into your minor league systems. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're flooded with players from these countries. So MLB, you're right, the masking agents, like they said how much money they spend annually is just astronomical trying to keep up with all the different types of PEDs and tests, because obviously someone's always going to provide you something that they can't test for immediately, and that's the hard part of this. I look at it this way: do the valiant effort. Do the testing, put something in place where you test people randomly, and when you find somebody, they're guilty of it, you give them the penalty, and that's that.